Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Course in Miracles and More. Well, this lesson to me is one of the most powerful lessons in the Course in Miracles because it is telling us that the biggest defense that we use against truth is sickness, right? I know I have in the past. Have you used sickness to deny that you are the perfect pattern of God? Each of us are created in the image and likeness as the image and likeness of God. And as that, we are streams of consciousness that are totally 100% divine. And if you don't believe that, what happens is you overlay that with all your defenses. And we have a lot of defenses against truth, right? So think about some that you may practice on a regular basis, like jealousy. That's a defense against truth. How about pride? I'm prideful, puffed up. That's a defense against truth. Now remember, we have to always begin our day with this one thought. I am what came out of the mind of God. Therefore, I am whole, perfect, and complete at all times. And if I'm not in alignment with that, I'm making up something else. And I'm using things in this world, unreal thoughts, to convince myself that I am something other than what God created. So we use jealousy, we use pride, we use anger. Think of all the attack thoughts that you hold in your mind. These are defenses against truth. And the biggest defense is to make yourself sick. I know. And you're doing it to yourself. You are choosing to be sick. Hi, sunshine. Hi, everybody. So good to see you. You know, this topic is so profound and powerful when you understand it, not intellectually, but when you bring it down to the level of applying it and using the steps that I'm going to give you to help you undo that belief in sickness. Since God created you whole, perfect, and complete, there can be no sickness in that. So if you are having a bodily illness, a disease, you have ill thoughts, ill beliefs. Illness comes from ill thoughts. Illness comes from ill beliefs. Because everything is in the mind. And I think this is one of the hardest things to get, because when you don't feel well, what is the first thing you do? You look for causes for your illness in the world. It's the food that did it. It's the virus that did it. It's the germs that did it. It's something external to my mind that did it. And it's none of that. It all came from how you think, what you believe, thoughts, ill thoughts. And you know, in the Bible, in the book of Corinthians by our beloved brother Paul, he said that your body, I'm kind of just paraphrasing it, but he said your body is a moving temple that houses the Spirit of God. And your job here is to glorify God through radiant health. How about that? That's how we glorify God, with radiant health. But we have been conditioned by the medical system, by doctors, dentists, all of them. We've been conditioned to believe that the problem is in the body, not in the mind. No one ever said to you, no doctor ever said to you, well, the cancer that you have is in your mind. No, they said the cancer is in your liver and you need chemo. No one ever said diabetes is in your mind. No one told you that you made diabetes by how you think. They said diabetes is in your pancreas. You're not producing enough insulin, or maybe you're hypoglycemic and you have too much insulin. So the problem, the medical field tells us, is in the body. So we've been conditioned to believe that. And then we have lots of fun trying to figure out how to fix it. Now, isn't that interesting? Think about how much fun you have trying to fix your illness. You call your friends, and you go, well, what did you do when you had that? Oh, and they say, well, I went here and I bought this and this really worked. And then I went to this homeopathic and they gave me this. Oh, and I had some biofeedback, and then I went for reflexology. It was so fabulous. And listen, guys, there's nothing wrong with any of that. Because if you are having a bodily symptom and you are in alignment with the spirit, then the spirit is going to have you look at the thoughts in your mind. That's the first thing you have to do when you become sick. First tell yourself, okay, I've chosen sickness. I have decided to be ill. And what is the purpose of this sickness? But you see, the ego has already established that guilt and sin and fear and all those things are real. And because you believe it, you then believe that the source of your sickness is not coming from thoughts, it's not coming from beliefs, but it's coming from something in the world, right? It's coming from, my stress is coming from something in the world. Just take a few minutes, think about it. Are you facing right now an illness? Do you have some kind of maybe it's a mental problem? Even that. Maybe it's a chronic disease. Maybe you have high blood pressure and you said, I have high blood pressure because I'm so anxious. It's anxiety. It's coming from anxiety. I have a heart condition because my grandfather and my grandfather's father had heart problems. It runs in my family. So then we all agree that it runs in the family. And we play the game of trying to seek and find the cure for the projected guilt in the world. Because that's all sickness is. It's coming from guilt held in the mind. And remember when we talked about the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, the chakras below the higher chakras? They are the containers. They hold on, you could say, to unconscious thoughts, which are your shadows, or as the Course calls them, private thoughts. Private thoughts are unconscious. Unconscious thoughts held deep in the mind that you're not even aware of. And what do unconscious thoughts look like, really? How would you express an unconscious thought? It would be an inauthentic statement. It would be something you made up to cover something else. Sue, you know what I'm talking about, right? Instead of being authentic and transparent and open, it's private thoughts. We're afraid of rejection. We're afraid they won't like us. So these private thoughts are held deep in the mind, but we end up projecting them. And those are the shadow images, the people that we see in our world, reflecting back to us, the thoughts and the beliefs, or our bodies being sick because we have not forgiven, meaning given up these thoughts, given forth of these stinking thinking thoughts. So if you have an illness or a disease or a problem in the body, you have a forgiveness problem. That's all. And Jesus says right here, this comes from chapter 26. He says, all sickness comes from separation, the belief that you could be separate from God. When the separation is denied, the sickness goes. When you deny the separation and you say, I am a stream of divine consciousness, and as that, there can be no sickness. There can be no anything but health and peace and joy. So when I identify as what God created me to be, there can be nothing else but health, abundance, peace, joy, love, you name it, everything of God, I am. So there's nothing outside of that. God does not have a split personality of good and evil. God is good all the time. And since I am a stream of divine consciousness, my good, the Christ in me, is here all the time. So I am that too. And then my body becomes a moving temple for me to express the glory and glorify God as radiant health. Wow. Then he says here, for sickness is gone as soon as the idea that brought it has been healed. Okay, so now here's the problem. The minute you get sick, what happens? Number one, you panic. And you start blaming, and I'm talking from my own experience, okay? So it's a collective you. It's a collective we. There's only one person here, so I'm talking to myself. Anyway, so what we do when we get sick is this. We panic. It's like, oh my God, I'm sick. What did I eat? I must have ate something. It's food poisoning. Oh my God. Okay. Then it's, I'm sick. Oh, the doctor told me I have diabetes. Oh no. Oh, bigger panic. See, the bigger the disease, the bigger the panic. Right? If it's a headache, it's a little like, oh my God, I have a headache. But the bigger the illness, the bigger the disease, the bigger the panic. And then we start playing the game of seek and find in the world of shadows and dreams. We try to find the reason for it instead of looking at the thoughts in the mind. See, if you believe that you're separate from God, you're going to be panicked. That's the first attack thought. I am separate from God. I believe that. But ideas don't leave their source, right? So if I believe that I am separate from God, oh my gosh, this is where my problem begins. So let's go deeper into the sickness thing. Okay, so now you're sick, you have an illness, no matter what it is, and you start looking for cures in the world. And it doesn't go away, and you call people, you go to doctors, you just keep searching, you're trying to find the answer. This is why. And you want to, it's like, see, the ego wants to be right all the time. So it's like, yeah, this is why I'm sick, right? Yeah, and my friend had the same thing. We're both sick because we both agree that the separation is real. That's really what's going on. But because the ego first establishes that guilt and sin and fear and punishment and all that are real in the mind, you're absolutely terrified to look at your thoughts. The thoughts that created the sickness, not created it, it made the sickness. Sickness in and of itself is not real, but practically speaking, I don't want to look at my thoughts. So the first thing you do when you get sick is you panic. Instead of going within and looking at your thoughts, looking at your beliefs. Because if you don't look at the thoughts and if you don't get in touch with those beliefs, you can take whatever you can do whatever you want to do in the world of time and space to fix your so-called disease, and it will just find another outlet. Okay, you might heal you've heard me tell the story about my dad. And, my dad was he was a real metaphysical guy, always into the esoteric and whatnot. And I remember he had a heart condition and he was panicked. First thing, he's panicked. And that's when all your spiritual stuff goes out the window because you know about the spiritual stuff, but you don't know it. Practically. You know about it. This is the time where we need to create masters on the planet. Masters know it by living it, right? Intellectual people know about it, and they're good at talking about it and telling you about it. Lots of teachers out there talking about it, but the masters know it. They have transcended it. And that's what we're all here to do. Self-mastery, right? So here's my dad, and he's got this heart condition. And he's told he needs a triple or a double, some wild bypass surgery. In his panic, he started looking for, answers. And that's okay, guys. It doesn't mean you shouldn't look for answers in the world, okay? But he didn't do what you should do first, which is, let me look at the mind, as well as do what I need to do in the physical world, right? It's like if I'm diabetic, I'm going to take insulin, but let me look at my thoughts. Let me look at the thoughts that made the condition in the body, the thoughts that projected the guilt onto my body. Let me look at that. So my dad, he went and they said, you need this open heart surgery. And he said, oh my God, I am not having that. So he started looking for answers, and he found chelation. And he went for chelation and, started to get some healing results. And he was healed. His heart was healed. He went back to the doctor and they said, oh my God, what have you done? You don't need surgery. Your heart's all cleared from chelation. So dad, he's like, yay, my answer came from the world. But it did not relieve the guilt in the mind. See, the guilt in the mind is the source of your illness. So if you eat the right foods and you do the right thing and you take your insulin and you do your cancer chemo and you do all this, okay, you're putting Band-Aids, you're doing the work in the external world, but you have not rooted out the source of your illness, which is stinking thinking. It's thoughts in the mind, beliefs, held deep in the mind, unconscious beliefs that are the source of your illness. Okay, so my dad had a eureka moment. I'm healed. It was the chelation, right? And everybody who went for chelation, yay, yay, Ken, good job. You healed your body with chelation. Okay, so off he goes. Things are going great. Few years later, got a problem. Now the problem's in the prostate. Because guilt held in the mind will project onto the body. So if you heal this one with food or with your medicines or whatever else you're doing, but you didn't do the internal work, because remember, illness in the body is a forgiveness problem. It's a problem of not giving forth of the unreal thoughts or the attack thoughts held in the mind. The beliefs that are not what God would have you believe. Remember, you are made in the image and likeness of God. You are the perfect pattern as the Son of God of everything that God is. And in that pattern of perfection, there is no illness. You are the perfect pattern of health. God is the flower of life. There's no sickness in the flower of life. There's no lack in the flower of life. You are a stream of divinity. There's no distinction between the Christ in you and the Father. They're the same. We are the same. And so if you're something other than that, it's because you've decided that you are something other than what God made. And it comes from that first thought. The very first thought in the mind is the very first attack thought is, I want to be bigger than God. I want to be better than God. I want to author my own life. I want to be my own person. I want to be outside of what love is. You can never be outside of what love is because love created you as a part of itself. So you can never be outside of that. And when you believe that you are, now you start dancing in the shadow world, making up all this sickness, lack, poverty, whatever it is you're dealing with that is not feeling peaceful and joyful, you made it up. These are all defenses against truth. Attack against God. And the reason is this: you are so afraid that God is going to punish you. So you dare not look at your thoughts, because to go within and look at your thoughts would mean that, oh my God, I have this thought that is an anti-life thought. And because of that, God is going to punish me. That's what's really going on. And so with my father, he healed in the external world. Okay. But the illness, the sickness found another path out to show itself to you. Illness is a wake-up call. It's saying, wake up and look at your thoughts. Wake up, go within and look at your thoughts. You have projected guilt onto the body. So it is a real wake-up call. And that's why, to know about the Course in Miracles or the true teaching, the esoteric wisdom coming from the ancients, even the ancient Egyptians taught that pain in your body is caused from pain thoughts. The Egyptians taught this, right? And yet when we go to Saqqara, there was beautiful temple. There is. We go there. The healing temple of light and sound. Light, light and sound. Om, light and sound. To raise the vibration, to wake up and dissolve those unreal thoughts in the mind. They're unreal because God didn't think those thoughts. You thought those thoughts. And any thought that you think from the ego's mind isn't a real thought. God doesn't think thoughts of sickness. God doesn't think thoughts of lack. God doesn't think right? We have to put it into a way we can understand from the ego's mind, right? God doesn't think any of those thoughts. So here's my dad now, got a prostate problem. And the first thing he wants to do is, again, panic. Oh my God, I have a prostate problem. Maybe I need to have it removed. Maybe I need to have a prostate scraping. Maybe this, maybe that. And then he had a eureka moment, a real eureka moment, when he said, maybe I need to do some forgiveness work. Maybe that's what I need. And so he started to do some really deep forgiveness work. My Father's in heaven and he's so cute. I can feel his presence here saying, yeah, go, go. This is the truth. This is truth, right? Now that they're on the other side, it's like, oh my God, why didn't I get it on earth? But here's the thing. When you become ill, when I become ill, okay, do what you do, ask the Holy Spirit for direction. What would you have me do here with this? And the first thing is, let me look at my thoughts while I'm doing what I'm doing in the external world. Ask yourself, what is this sickness for? There's a line in the Course where Jesus says, ask yourself when anything's going wrong in your life to say, what is its purpose? Ask yourself, if you're facing an illness, say, what is its purpose? What is this sickness purpose in my life? Is it to avoid responsibility? Is it to, escape from the world so you don't have to deal? Really go deep with it. Why did I make this sickness real in my life? We know it's coming from guilt in the mind. We know it's coming from shadow thoughts, private thoughts in the unconscious. You may be conscious of why you did it, or you may not be. And how do you find out about these unconscious thoughts? It's really easy. Notice what you try to hide. Notice what you deny. When someone says something to you and you push it down, you deny it. Notice when you're people pleasing. Notice when you're, being a doormat, which is people pleasing. These are all the ways that we deny truth. We push all these things down in the mind, and all that stuff down in the mind, in the unconscious, is the cause of your sickness. That's why you have to forgive, give forth of these thoughts. So when someone shows up in your life and rattles your chains, causes you to feel anxious, sad, hurt, scared, you got to protect yourself. There's only one of us here. There's only one of us here. That person is reflecting the attack thoughts held in your mind. They are the mere reflection of what you are not looking at and giving forth from your own unconscious. It's all there. That is why, again, Jesus says the only thing owing to your brother is gratitude, because the people in your life will reflect your unconscious thoughts. And what we do is push it down. We don't want to look. So when you don't look at the source of your illness, which is coming from your thoughts and beliefs, then you continuously project them onto the body and remain sick. But listen, we're in the 120 club. We're living to be 120 years old. And we have to give up attack thoughts. And we have to give up the belief in sickness. And we have to give up the belief in the conditioning that we have been programmed to believe from the medical. And again, I just want to say this. When, Jesus says this too in the Course where, that you might be asleep, you're in a dream, and your mother comes into the room and turns on the light, and you get scared because you were in this nightmare, and then you kind of wake up and you rub your eyes, kind of like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, and you're like, what? You mean it was a dream? Mm-hmm. You were dreaming sickness. You were dreaming pride. You were dreaming jealousy. You were dreaming anger. None of it is real. You were dreaming it. But if we don't look at the source of the illness, which are the thoughts held in the mind and the beliefs, underneath that, underneath the thoughts, underneath the beliefs is beautiful love light. And if you remove these, you give them forth, then you become a radiant, holy, moving temple expressing health as radiant health. As St. Paul said, that is why you have a body, to remember that you're not the body, but you're here to enjoy planet Earth as the fullness of everything God created. It's such a beautiful thing. But because of the fear of God punishing us for the belief in the separation, we dare not look at our thoughts. And so my dad, he realized it. And that's a thing, right? You know about the Course in Miracles. You know about the Dharma. You know about how to chant, how to do mudras, how to do whatever it is you do. You know how to do it. You know about it. But are you being it in practice? That's the master. That is the master. And that requires discipline and a willingness to look at the thoughts. Look at the thoughts. That man that pushed my buttons is a thought in my mind. That woman who pushed my buttons is a thought in my mind. That dog that pushed my buttons is a thought in my mind. It's all a projection of the guilt held in my mind. And the guilt that I'm holding in my mind is the result of believing that I am separate from my Creator. Right? And we know ideas never leave their source, so I cannot ever be outside of what God is. God is the flower of life. I like to use that perfect pattern. And I am the perfect pattern of what God is. And so in that, there is only perfection. And so why not live to 120 or whatever? In health, look at your belief. We talk about this recently about aging. People believe at a certain age, this is what happens. That is an attack thought held in the mind. You believe that, I'm, of a certain age. This is what happens when I go through menopause. This is what happens when I reach midlife. This is what happens. When you get to be 40, you're going to have to wear glasses. And when you hit 55, you're going to need progressives or whatever. These are the conditioned beliefs that we don't look at. We just all agree. And then we seek for answers in this world. And so we go to the eye doctor and we get progressives. And the ego gets to win. And we get to be right about what we believe. But underneath the beliefs and underneath the thoughts is the pure radiance of God. You are the perfect pattern of everything God is. And you're telling yourself you're something other than that. That's the problem. And so then we make up a sickness. And then we find things in the world to fix the sickness. And over this pandemic time, wow, what we have seen is a projection of the fear in the mind that the answer to the sickness is in the form of whatever, the JAB. And again, not to make anything wrong that you did, but look at the thoughts in the mind. What is the purpose of your sickness? What is the purpose? What purpose is it serving for you? And again, my father said when he started to do the forgiveness work, he began to realize, and he always said, his story's great. Share it. If it helps somebody, go for it. The sickness in the mind is the guilt. And the guilt that he had was divorcing my mother and not paying child support and trying to, smooth it all over and make it look like he was justified or whatever. And the story went on and on and on. And then it manifested as an illness in the body. It manifested as whatever, prostate. Oh, and then after that, it was a sugar problem. Like it just scoots around, right? And people say, well, he lived the rest of his life healthy, okay? But then when you leave this body, you took the astral body with you, which are your chakras filled with guilt, into the spirit world with the spirit guides. And they said, well, like I've been saying, you did good here and you did good there, but you still got guilt in the mind. And okay, yeah, you healed your cancer with chelation, but the guilt's still there. And there you are on the other side going, oh, okay, yeah, true. Yeah, guilt, it's still there. I didn't look at the thoughts in my mind. I didn't look at the beliefs. So you'll come into another body, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's not right or wrong. It's the game of life. And you come back in with all your guilt in your astral body. And, I was saying this, I was talking to my dear friend Sue yesterday, and we were talking about, we were talking astrology, which I love. And so the planets will all configure into the perfect, configuration that match your karma, your energy pattern blueprint in your chakras. And then you take a body. And then you've got to work it out. The purpose of life is to forgive the guilt and to drop your story and to master the mind. That's the whole purpose. And so again, I ask you, if you're dealing with something, stop and say, what is the purpose? What is my purpose for having this heart problem? What is the purpose for me having high blood pressure? What is the purpose of me having menstrual cramps? What is the purpose? And go deep into the mind and look at your thoughts around that. Your thoughts are coming from your beliefs. And sometimes we like being sick. Come on. We like it in a kind of sick way. We don't know that we like it in a sick way, but it's an escape route. You get to talk about it. You get to have pity. You get to have somebody say, aw. You get to have, masters don't do that. That's why it's about mastery. And again, it's not about denying the sickness. Of course, you'll be guided as to what to do, but you are looking at the source of your sickness, and it is in the mind. It's the thoughts and beliefs that you have not addressed in the mind. And it's guilty thoughts coming from the original attack thought, which is, I really believe I'm separate from God. And then that attack thought fragments into a whole bunch of other thoughts. And then they get projected because, oh my God, I don't want to be responsible for those thoughts. I'm going to make you pay. I'm going to make you responsible. So I need a scapegoat to hide my guilt. And it's going to be you, the person that shows up rocking my world. You are my scapegoat for hiding. You're the perfect container to hide my guilt in. My body is the perfect container to hide my guilt in. As sickness, showing up as sickness. Or mental problems, stress, anxiety, whatever it is, showing up. That's all it is. So what is the purpose of your sickness? What purpose is it serving for you? And that takes a lot of deep contemplation and being willing. And again, you have to look at it with Kuan Yin. She's the mother of compassion and mercy and wisdom. Look at the source. Look at your thoughts with a divine teacher. Invite the Buddha into your heart. Invite Jesus into your heart. Invite the Spirit and look at your attack thoughts with a higher power, because you of yourself can't do it. The self that you think you are is not a real self. It's a make-believe self, the separate self. And if you look at the source of your thoughts or your condition and your thoughts and beliefs with that self, it's going to attack you. So you need to be very gentle with yourself. Sit quietly, maybe keep a pen and paper beside you, because it's nice to write these thoughts down, and ask yourself, what purpose is this sickness serving me? What is it for? This is Jesus's question. What purpose is this blank for? And find your reason. Let's say you have a belief that, you reach a certain age and you get arthritis, and you're not aware of that belief. But you sit with that. Maybe you have arthritis, and you sit with that, and you think, what is the purpose of me having arthritis? Why do I have this? Obviously, you want to be right about some belief you hold in the mind. See, the ego wants to be right, always. And so maybe it's like, well, my mom had arthritis. Or maybe it's, well, I live in a cold climate, and people that live in the cold climate get arthritis. And so you go deep with this, and you just write different thoughts that come up in images or colors or shapes or whatever that come into the mind. Write them down. And really, you are doing some really deep inner work here with Jesus, with the Spirit, with Kuan Yin, with Mother Mary, with Athena, with Isis, with Goddess Neff, you're doing this deeper work. And you're making it fun. You'll know it differently when you don't attack yourself in the process of doing deep inner work, because you're working with a higher power that knows you've never been separated from God. And in order for you to know that you've never been separated from God, you have to remove what you think you know as truth. And what you think you know as truth are thoughts of illness, thoughts of pride, anger, jealousy. None of that's true. But you believe it is. So what is my illness for? What's the purpose of my illness? How is it serving me? Do I get to escape responsibilities? Is it my go-to excuse when things aren't working out? Oh, I'm sick. Oh, can't help you. I'm sick. I have this issue. And you're proud of the issue. It's almost like an honor badge. This is my issue. Right here. You wear it as a badge. And everyone will call you, hey, how are you doing today? How's your diet? How's your chemo going? How are you doing? Oh, and everybody has a nice long conversation about the illness. Yeah, so what's it serving? What's its purpose? It's unbelievable. And this is why this lesson is so profound, because it's the biggest defense against truth. The biggest. The biggest. And you see it like in the pharmaceuticals now, right? And in the medical, the belief in bodily symptoms, that they're coming from effects. Remember, sickness is an effect. Your symptom is an effect of a cause, and the cause is your thoughts and beliefs. The effect is a symptom in the body. That's it. And like St. Paul said, I actually wrote the exact quote here. Where is it? Oh. Anyway, when I find it, I'll read it to you exactly. But it is basically, your body is here to express and to glorify God in full radiant health. Full radiant health. How beautiful is that? It's amazing. So I just want to add on here that next Sunday, we will have a breath work session, because breath work is an awesome way to get in touch with the unconscious thoughts, to flush them up and out. Breath work is like a pump that helps to flush up the attack thoughts that are held deep in the mind. So we will talk about, finish this, maybe not finish the lessons, but we'll go into some more about this lesson. But next week we will do a breathwork session. So please, if you know of anybody that's looking to flush up the attack thoughts in the mind, have them join in. And it'll be on Zoom, and at the same time. We'll start at 10, and it'll be a 2-hour session. So, but before I go deeper into the lesson, I thought what I'd do is take you into a meditation about our beautiful body temple. And how, again, I have to say, Jamie and I never talk about, when she plays songs, we never discuss what she's going to play. But it was interesting that you chose to play Earth, Water, Fire, Air, and Sky is what makes you and I, because this is the meditation this morning on the beautiful elements and the divine elementals serving the one God that help put our body temple together so that we can express radiant health in the world. So let's go into that. I'm not wanting to make something real, so I'm denying the possibility. I feel guilty to have symptoms. How can I change this? Okay, Susan, hold on to that question, and after meditation, you may have your answer. And if not, we'll talk about it. Okay? So thank you for that. All right, everyone, please sit up nice and tall. We want the spirit of love to flow through our astral spine. And close your eyes. We begin by breathing in health, love. Breathe in. Inhaling perfect health, perfect love, perfect peace, and exhaling sick thoughts, exhaling ill thoughts. Breathing in perfect health. Breathing out illness, ill thoughts, sick thoughts. Let them go. They're not real thoughts. God didn't think them. And you are God. We breathe in again, one more conscious breath of love and health and peace and joy. And we exhale attack thoughts, which are ill thoughts. Illness comes from ill thoughts. And again, as we sit here breathing in love and health and breathing out fear and sickness, we remind ourselves that my sickness, whether it's a mental sickness, emotional, physical, spiritual sickness, comes from the belief that I am separate from God. And intellectually, I know that. I know that in my head. But practically, I have no idea what it means. It seems like I know about it, but I really don't know it. And so, dear God, I am looking for a process to get out of this fear and guilt that I hold in my mind. And I now know that symptoms are truly effects, the symptoms that I'm experiencing. But in this moment, I am reminded from our brother St. Paul, where he tells us that the body, my body, is a moving temple. It houses God, Spirit. And my purpose of having this body is to express the radiance of God as radiant health. And that is what I desire today. So I'm breathing in love and I'm breathing out fear. And I think of my body temple now as just that. It is a temple like all temples on earth, and it is made of the divine elements of God: earth, water, fire, and air. Think about the bones in your body coming from the element of earth, and the minerals and the crystals in your body. Think about your bones and teeth, your fingernails, your eyelashes. Think about your hair. These are all coming from the element of earth, the hard materials in your body made from the divine element of earth. Perfect, divine, beauteous, luminous earth element. And in praise and gratitude for the support of the bones in my body, my skeletal system, my skeletal body, my spine, my rib cage, my fingers, the bones in my hands, my sit bones, my ankle bones, my kneecaps, my skull. This entire body is a temple, a beautiful temple, and it is held in place by the divine elements of love. And supporting that is the beautiful elementals of the earth, the gnomes and the leprechauns. Truly, the divine elementals serving the one God. And then I think about the water element of my body. And I send gratitude to the divine elemental of the water, the undines, that are serving the planet, that are serving me. I think about the tears in my eyes. I think about the urine that I'm able to eliminate. I think about the liquids flowing through my body and my beautiful kidneys that work in perfect harmony, perfect balance to cleanse my blood. And I send gratitude to my kidneys, to my bladder. I send gratitude to my bones, to my fingernails and my hair and my eyelashes that collect the dust from getting into my eyes, even to my nose hair, everything of the earth and water element that makes up my body. Pure God substance. Yes, I'm pure God substance, here to be the expression of radiant health. Let me show the world that God lives in me through radiant health. Let that be my purpose. And then I think about the element of fire and how blessed I am to be able to digest food. My liver, belonging to the element of fire, that's able to clean my blood, to siphon out the toxic thoughts held in the mind. Letting go of guilt, shame, pride, anger, jealousy, hatred, self-hatred. And I think about my gallbladder and how it works to serve me, so that this body temple can be a expression, moving about. People see my body temple, they see me and they recognize God in me. And I see every cell of my stomach as a radiant sun, a center of cosmic energy. Every cell in my gallbladder made of the substance of God, which is light. And I look at my pancreas and I send gratitude for the hormones produced by my pancreas, for the insulin and for whatever else is needed to keep me balanced. I send it gratitude. My body is always trying to come back into balance, but it requires that I think balanced thoughts. Heaven is a state of balance, equanimity. the fire in my belly, energy, the energy of God moving through me. And I send gratitude to the beautiful salamanders, the elementals that serve the fire element. I am so grateful to God that I am able to have this body temple in order to express the radiance of perfect health. I am so grateful to God. I want to express radiant health. That's what I want. This is my new want today. I want perfect health. And so we breathe in this precious purpose. And we move up to the heart. We're in the heart chakra. And we think about the element of air and how the heart is beating and we are able to breathe in and breathe out. And the beautiful elementals serving the element of air, the sliffs. And we're so grateful because everything is working together for our good, for our God. Everything is working together that our body temple be a perfect radiant outpicturing of health and abundance and all things good, all things God. And that is my want today. That is what I desire. And so in this moment, as I breathe in love and I breathe out everything else, I realize that my body is the temple of the living God. And that my purpose is to glorify God in it as radiant health. That is my purpose. And so now that I know about this, I have to come up with a practice that would keep me in radiant health. And because I'm saying to the universe, I want radiant health, I want what's true for me, I am ready today to give up all of these defenses that I have against truth, with sickness being one of the main ones. I now realize that my problems are coming from the guilt that I'm holding in my mind. And I now realize that I'm believing that I'm something other than what God created. I am the Christ, and I am believing something else. I am the Buddha, and I am believing something else. I am Krishna, and I am believing something else. So I am willing to look at my thoughts. I want to go inside, deep within. Father, Mother God, be with me. Be with me. Because I want to go in with you by my side to where the source of my guilt is. Because I know that beneath all this guilt is radiant light. And I've covered this light, this beautiful stream of divinity that I am, I've covered it with ego thoughts and beliefs. And I was thinking for years and years that my problem, my specific problem, my body pains, my emotional traumas, even an empty bank account, problems in the world, all of this, all coming from the guilt in my mind. So I'm asking myself right now, whatever issue that you might be dealing with, body sickness, mental, emotional, whatever, ask yourself, why would I want this sickness? Why would I want this? Why would I want this? And what purpose is it serving me? What purpose is this sickness serving me? Because you know what happens when you understand the purpose of something? You can do something about it. So you need to understand the purpose of why you're choosing sickness. What is the purpose? Why would you want this sickness? And once you understand the purpose of whatever that something is going on, well, you can seriously do something about it. And that's what you want. And you know, another thing, as you breathe in this love and grace, become aware of the fact that all your illnesses and whatever physical problems, mental problems, they're absolutely linked to your past. Whether it's traumas from your childhood, birth traumas, past lives, whatever conditioning that you got in childhood, all your illnesses, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and all your physical problems are pretty much 100% of the time, well, maybe 99.9% of the time, rooted in some form of negative, unconscious memory. And next week when we do our breath work, and there's other alternative means for healing as well, but for us it's our breath work, we can discover what some of these are. And so we're saying in this moment, this is what I want. I'm no longer going to see sin and guilt in another body. I'm not going to look at you and see sin. I'm not going to look at you and see guilt, because they're not real in the first place. So I'm not going to make them real. If I decide to see guilt and sin in you, all I'm doing is distracting myself away from my mind. I'm not going to do that, because I want to know the thoughts and beliefs that are the cause of the sickness. And so I breathe in love and I breathe out fear. And I ask you, from the Lord God of my being, do you want to be healed? Do you really want to be healed? And you have to want that from the Lord God of your being. Because illness, in its sneaky way, is an escape from life's responsibilities, facing you. And you don't have to worry, because sometimes we're afraid to be healed. Because first we're afraid God might get us, punish us. We're afraid of the mind, like how powerful are you when you heal? That's frightening. It can be frightening. But we don't have to worry, because the Holy Spirit, in our right mind in God, will direct you, will direct me to do whatever's needed for myself, for yourself. I've come to the conclusion on this day, in this moment of right now, that health is an inside job. If there's illness in me, anywhere, in any form, it's evil. Evil is the opposite of live. And if I'm not thinking life-giving thoughts, then I'm thinking evil, ill thoughts. And I'm stopping that today. I am stopping that today. I am changing the whole pattern of my thinking. With the Buddha in my heart, with Jesus in my heart, with Baba in my heart, whoever it is that you pray to, whoever it is. Maybe it's just you knowing your higher self as a ball of light in you. But the Spirit wants us to know on this day that if you have a problem, any problem, you have something to forgive. If you have unpleasant situations in your life, you need to forgive. If you have debt and you have an empty bank account, an empty wallet, it is a need to forgive. If there's unhappiness in your life in any way, or if you're confused, spinning, you need to forgive. If good is not coming into your life, you need to forgive. If you are in a deadlock, you need to forgive. Forgiveness is release. Give forth of the shadow thoughts, the shadow beliefs that are held deep in the mind. Be willing to play this game of life. As Baba says, life is a game, play it. You need to know the rules of the game. You have to look at your thoughts. You have to look at your beliefs. And we are willing to do that today. Dear God, what is the truth about this situation in my life? What is the truth? What's going on here? When I forgive it, I'm giving it up. I forgive it and I'm giving up this health problem. When I forgive it, I'm giving up this debt problem. When I forgive it, give forth of it, I am giving up whatever it is that seems to have me in a deadlock. And so we say, whatever it is that you're facing, call something up in this moment. What are you facing? Is it an illness, lack, debt, whatever? Whatever defense that you have in your life, which is guilt projected, we say to ourselves, I deny the power of this over me. This condition has no power. This condition has no power. I am not a body. I have a body, but I am not the body, so this cannot be real. And I do not accept this appearance. Whatever's happening, you might be facing whatever it is you're facing, an illness, disease, debt, lack, whatever. Say to yourself, I do not accept this appearance. It's coming from the ego, and the ego is fear, and fear is not real. So I do not accept this appearance. God's everlasting good now reigns supreme in my life. And so I'm letting all of this go. And to finish up here, as you breathe in love and breathe out fear, we come to know that we have to now drop sarcasm from our speech. We have to stop complaining. We have to stop blaming and accusing others. Stop making petty statements about yourself and others. And stop describing your illness. Stop describing your hurts and pains. There's no healing power in that. So stop it. And so we breathe in, allowing the words of wisdom to flow through you. With the word on your heart that says yes. Yes to health. ending this beautiful time with the Spirit with I am letting divine intelligence express perfection through me now. I am letting divine intelligence express perfection through me now. Breathe it in. I am letting divine intelligence express perfection through me now. Let it be so. And so it is. And just take a minute. And you might want to pray to the Lord God of your being your way. I'll give you a minute. And when I ring the bell, we will come back. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. So I'm really glad you can replay that and just, take it in and remind yourself, this is the work. It takes a lot of commitment and work to want to choose to be a master. It really does. You're going deeper than knowing about it. You're going to a level of knowing it. And that's the work. So I'm going to begin this with Susan. You had asked that wonderful question before our meditation, and I'm wondering if you got your answer. You did. I love that when we get our own answer. You want to share? You're welcome. You did it. How about, would you like to share that, Susan? I think that would be nice for people. Jamie can unmute and you can share a little bit about that. It's really nice to participate and add on because this topic is huge. And so many of us have been dealing with illnesses and, stresses and anxieties and all kinds of things and making them real. And we need to talk about it and get it into the open. So it would be great if you could share that.
Okay, I think by not wanting to make something real, I was just simply denying it, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't there. And I think that I want to go forth and only express gratitude, but the fact of the matter is that I'm a human being and there's other emotions that I've been denying. And I think that that's what's manifested in some of the signs and symptoms that I've experienced. I don't talk to a lot of people, first of all, so it's not that I'm making it real, because I don't want to make it real. But again, it's just been helpful to look at myself through your meditation and come to accept my own responsibility. Yes. and move forth in that. And I don't want to make anything real, but that doesn't mean that I don't need to address certain things.
Oh, that's so good, Susan. Yeah. Well said. And let me add on to that. The proper use of denial is to deny its power over you.
Thank you.
Yes, because let's face it, when I don't feel good, it's pretty real. Mm-hmm. So to say it's not real, right, is the wrong use of denial. The proper use of denial is to, can you step over here and observe it? Let me observe what's happening in my body and let me deny its power over me. Remember last week we talked about when you believe in two powers, this is a problem. There are not two powers. There's one power, God's power. Remember the beautiful prayer that Spirit gave us? Mm-hmm. There's one power, okay? So when I'm sick, I don't feel well, and I say, well, I'm not going to make it real. Well, no point, because I feel it, it hurts, I can't take it, it's driving me crazy, so it seems pretty real.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not going to give it power, because if I start to focus on it, I'm not going to make it real, not going to make it real, I'm already giving it power. So what I'm saying is there's two powers. That sickness has a power to hurt me. So instead, I get back over here in God consciousness and I say, God is the only power. And I deny that this sickness has power over me. And I'm going to stand here and observe this cancer. I'm going to stand here and observe this high blood pressure. And even if I take a medicine, okay, use the magic pills. Jesus doesn't say don't use magic pills, but he says do look at the mind. Right? Okay. So the right use of denial is I deny your power over me. God is the power. I am observing what's happening in my body and recognizing that that is a call for love. This illness is a call for love. And I need to forgive the attack thoughts in my mind that's generating this disease in my body.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for sharing. Really powerful. Really powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else want to chime in? Okay, anybody there, James? If not, I want to tell you a story, because stories are profound. Sharing is profound. We all can relate. Okay, so now we know that healing comes from forgiveness. Forgiving first, the first attack thought, which ideas leave their source, that I could be separate from God. That's an attack thought. It is not a real thought, but it's one you made up. It's a tiny mad idea, right? So when I forgive it or give it forth and move into the atonement, which is before I had the thought of being without God, that's what the atonement is, all my sickness will be gone. Okay, so forgiveness is release. When you forgive something, you do it for the whole sonship, because there's only one of us here. That's the good news. Now listen to this story. This happened a while ago, and it's so profound to me and to a friend of mine that I was talking to. Okay, so I have been going for extensive dental work for the last 4 years. I've been running back and forth to KL. A couple of implants, different things going on. All right. So I was having, in one of my excursions, adventures to KL to get my tooth done, we were at the point of putting the crown on my implant. So when I went, she put the crown in, but it was too big for the space because my back tooth moved. But she was finagling it around, and I love my dentist. She's so fabulous. Yeah, I've had her for 15 years. She's wonderful. So she's, getting it in there. All of a sudden it clicked and it was locked in place, but it wasn't in place. Okay. So now she's jiggling and jiggling and jiggling for like an hour. Her assistant, everyone's jiggling, and my head is, and everyone's jiggling. And I'm like praying, it didn't hurt. It was just because I was frozen, but it was just, annoying. But anyway, and we were going for lunch. I was going for lunch with my dentist after this. So she said, well, it's not coming out. It's like, it's stuck. It's not budging. And she said, I think we have to leave it, and you're going to have to go home and chew. Just keep chewing. She said, I don't know if it'll take a week. It might take a month, whatever. Now, at this point, I felt a lot of pressure because that tooth is jammed in a spot that is smaller than the tooth. And it's such a small amount, but you know, it's like feeling like you have food between every tooth. You know that feeling? Like pressure. So we go for lunch and I'm chewing, you know, and I'm thinking, okay, whatever. So that was on a Friday. The next day, someone called me that was having a certain issue. And of course, it's always about forgiveness. At the end of the day, it's always about forgiveness. So she was talking, you know, to me about it. And here's what I know. And this is the work I do, guys. When somebody is in my face talking, even as a mentor, a counselor, whatever showing up for someone, I know that what they're telling me has, if it's rattling me, has something to do with me. And even if it doesn't, I'm doing the same work inside as they're talking to me, always. Always. So she's talking to me and she's sad, you know, there's some tears and the whole time she's talking, I'm jiggling my tooth. I'm thinking, oh my God, like, please let go. So she, you know, she says, what could it be? And da-da-da-da-da. And I said, you've got to do some deeper forgiveness work. This is all about giving forth the attack thoughts and to see that if it's happening to you, it first came from you. You are just simply seeing a reflection of what you did. It's a reflection of your judgments. It's a reflection of the guilt in the mind. It's a reflection of your attack thoughts. And if you can forgive it right here and now, and she got it. She really got it. You know those eureka moments, those aha moments when you really get it's you? As you said, Susan, yet you're fully responsible. You get it? She let out this loud, she's like, oh my, I knew she got it. My tooth let go. My tooth, it let go. And I said to her, oh my goodness, you just released for the whole sonship. And in that release that you had, I had a release in the physical of that tooth coming out. And I mean, I know you all get that. Not everybody would get that. They'd think that totally hilarious, but that's how it works. The physical symptom, my sister, who is me, there's only one of us here, who did that work, my tooth released. And my gratitude to her was beyond measure. Number one, for her willingness to reach out and want to know, and you know, she always has, wants to know, what am I not doing? What am I not giving? Can you help me see it differently? That's really powerful. Someone who's willing to play full out. It's like, let's put the ego on the back burner and just be naked and own everything because we know it's not real. See, the ego establishes that it's real first. And when you make whatever it's real, you're going to be embarrassed. You're going to feel dumb. You're going to feel shame. You're going to feel all these things. But don't make it real. It's not real. God didn't think it. And you are God. You are the perfect pattern of everything God. So it's not real. So when she did that, honest to God, my tooth, and I said to her, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Do you know the work that you've done for the whole sonship? There's one of us here and you're it. And I am a reflection of your release. You released it from your consciousness, and my physical experience is proof that we're all energy and we're all connected. And what I do to myself, I do to you. And what you do to me, you do to yourself and to everyone else. I am not making any of that real. So she had a massive healing on an emotional level. I had a massive healing on a physical level, and it was just amazing. And for her, as I shared what happened, she just cried in complete joy. And like, you know, that disbelief joy, you believe it, but it's like, what? You're awestruck by the miracle? The miracle is forgiveness. The miracle is forgiveness. And we are on a path, guys, of mastery. It's not enough to know it, to know about it. Not enough. It's to know it all the way through. Nothing has power over you. Nothing. When we root it out, when we give it forth, when we say, what is it that I'm holding on to that I can't see? And I am willing to go there. I'm willing to go there. Can you help me see it? And we have each other's back, because together we go to God. We all go or no one goes. We walk hand in hand to God. And so she's so willing to play full out. I'm willing to play full out. I don't care. Can you laugh at yourself? What are you hiding? What are you protecting? What are you defending? That's got your power. That's got your power. And you are giving power to an illusion. You are giving power to a dream, to a made up something. You're giving power to it. But God is the only power, and you could see that. That release was so profound, and that story to me is so profound. I'll tell it for the rest of my life, because that's just right there. So ask yourself, what am I defending? What don't I want people to know about me? And again, you don't have to get a megaphone and blow it out to the world. Hey guys, I didn't mention I'm this. No, it's being honest with yourself. Just be honest with yourself. What are you protecting? What are you defending? All of this. These are the barriers to the presence of health. These are the barriers. Remember, the Course says the barriers to the presence of love. What is love? Health. Perfect health. Radiant health is love. You are the perfect pattern of God, and that pattern does not contain illness. And so you have to ask yourself, why do I want this illness? How is it serving me? What do I get not to do because I'm sick? Like, this is big. And this new world we're creating together is a world of masters. You're no longer wanting to play the game of victim. You are willing to play the game of self-mastery. It's still a game. The whole world is an illusion in truth, right? It's a game. But you have to know how to play it full out in order to master it. And it's not enough to know about it. Not now. Not now. You got to know it. You have to be it. You have to show up. You have to be willing to see your defects of character. And we've been talking about, really, right? There are so many teachers out there. There's so much philosophy out there. Come on. There's so many self-help books. There's so many. Can you put anything else into your head? Seriously? As Jamie just said, yeah, seriously? What else is there for you to put in your head? Nothing. Now you have to demonstrate what love looks like. And love contains abundance. If you do not have money in your wallet, you have a forgiveness problem. If you are lacking in any way, you have a forgiveness problem. And again, forgiveness is give forth of the shadow thoughts. And those shadow thoughts are, as the Course describes them, private thoughts. And those are in the unconscious. That's why when I drew the root, the sacral, all the chakras, and I showed you the container that holds all your private thoughts, and someone shows up to reflect a private thought and you make them wrong and push down what you're not willing to see in yourself, which is the source of your sickness. It's big. It's so big. And that is why this particular lesson is a biggie in the defenses that we use against truth. It is a barrier, a block to the presence of health. Look at your beliefs. And again, every book you've read, I'm sure you've read so many books that said, know your beliefs. Have you? Yeah. But do you really know what you believe? Have you really sat down and looked at that and worked with the spirit and said, I got to give this up. I need to let go of this. Right? Have you looked at the attack thoughts in the mind? Really, the next time someone pushes your buttons, are you able to bring it in and say, that is an attack thought I'm holding in my mind, and she just animated it. She just animated it. He just animated it. And then, own it, be responsible for it, and give it forth, give it up, root it out. It's in the root chakra, it's unconscious. And Jesus comes with this beautiful Course in Miracles. And not just, Jesus comes at this time because he said, you need a book for the intellectual mind that gives you a practice of application so you can become a master. Right? And there are many masters on this planet. There's different books. And oh my goodness. But this book was given to us in the 70s as a modern day ascension manual to undo an insane thought system and to help the intellectual mind to stop just knowing about it and to use the lessons and whatever else to apply and see the results of the application. And there's so many other pathways to God. It doesn't matter. Course in Miracles, Dhammapada, Buddhism, Hinduism, Baha'i, it doesn't matter, whatever, if you're living it and working it. Right? And so this time on our planet is the time of self-mastery. By seriously wanting something other than what you've had up until this point of now. If you have a sickness, now's the time you stop and you observe the sickness. You stop talking about it. You stop defining it. You stop making it into something. Stop. You stop complaining about it. And you start going within and you start asking, what is the purpose of this? Why did I make a decision to be sick? I decided for sickness. We'll read about that in this lesson. Sickness is a decision. Whatever we have in our life, we want it at some level. Whatever you have in your life, you wanted it at some level. Regardless if you say you didn't, you did. Because it's in your space, which means it's in your consciousness. So, health is an inside job. Wealth is an inside job. Abundance in any form is an inside job. Peace is an inside job. All of it. So we're going to stop knowing about it. And we're going to start knowing it by putting into practice what we know given to us by masters who have walked this path before us and transcended it. Don't you want to follow somebody who got off the cross and resurrected? Don't you want to follow somebody? Jesus is a blueprint to help you get rid of the imprints in your consciousness. He said, follow me. I am the way, the life, and the truth. I am the open door that no man can shut. And this is metaphor. It's not like it's a story. It's a metaphor. But it is truth. If you want to see Jesus as a man who did the thing, go ahead if that helps you. Whatever helps. But the blueprint is there. First, it's being born into truth, knowing I am the image and likeness of God, and I am nothing other than that. That is what I am. I am a stream of divinity, and I am nothing else but that. I am an idea in the mind of God. I could never be outside of that. That is truth. I am loyal to my Creator. So I start my day with that truth. And then I have to go through the baptism. I have to be burned and purified and be born of spirit. I have to work with the spirit. And I have to let all these defilements in my mind be dissolved and purified by a higher power that I'm not separate from. I have to start seeing it differently. And I have to crucify these thoughts. That's the crucifixion. These thoughts of lack, these thoughts of sickness, these thoughts of pride, these thoughts of whatever. I have to be crucified of all these attack thoughts. Only then can I resurrect and ascend to be with my Father in heaven. Only then. Only then. Jesus says you have to look at your darkness. You have to look at the source of your guilt, but don't dwell on it. But you have to look at it. Not looking at it, it has your power. And so welcome these people into your life. Situations you find yourself in where you tighten up and you contract and you get all scared. Notice when you do that, you have just found guilt in your mind. That's why the external world is your schoolroom. The external world is going to show you everything about yourself that you don't know. And when you find yourself feeling, angry, or you feel jealous, or you feel sick to your stomach, or whatever, any feeling or emotion that you experience that's not peaceful, welcome it. Say, bring it on. I deny your power over me. Get thee hence. Remember the prayer Spirit gave us? Get thee hence. Observe what's happening. Step back here and hold the hand of Kuan Yin. Hold the hand of Mother Mary. Hold the hand of Jesus and say, help me see this differently. Obviously, I'm identified as a body. And so my sickness is a misidentification. I'm not seeing myself as the image and likeness of God. And I don't know how to do that because of myself. I'm nothing. But with you, I'm everything. So help me see this differently. I am willing. And that's the miracle. The shift in your perception where you now remember the atonement. I am before Abraham was. I am that I am. I am the Alpha and the Omega. Within the circle of love. Within the circle of health. Within the circle of everything good. This is it. You're a master in the making. I am a master in the making. I'm tired of knowing about it. I want to know it. I want to know it. And so I'm going to live it. And I'm going to ask in every moment for the Spirit to be with me. And when I feel uncomfortable, good, bring it on. When I feel out of ease, good, bring it on. I don't want these shadow thoughts. I don't want these attack thoughts deep in my unconscious, these private thoughts that I keep to myself and hide. I don't want them. I want to walk on water. I want to ascend and sit on the right-hand side of my Father. Right-mindedness. Whatever it takes, guys, this is it. We are creating a new world together. It's where the lion and the lamb lie down together. The innocence and the courage are one. You are the innocence of God and the courage of Spirit. You are Segment. You are Durga. You are Mother Kali. You are Krishna, Rama. You are all of it. And the only problem that we have is that the mind falls asleep and forgets heaven. You never left heaven. Never. So it's time to wake up. And it's time for us to get real. And it's time for us to say, I'm tired of knowing about it. I can't read one more book. I'm exhausted. I can't put any more shit in my head. When we swear, it kind of gets attention, right? Just came out. But seriously, that's what goes on. It's like, oh my God, how many of you out there could write a freaking book? Almost all of you. I know I could. I do. Right? Years and years and years. But not a lot has changed except you're pretty smart in your head. But you still don't have abundance. You still don't have health. You still don't have peace. But you know about it. Not good enough. Not for mastery. This is a degree that you're getting in self-mastery. And it is a required course, as they tell us. The time you take it is up to you, but eventually you will take it because we're all designed to remember who we are as the image and likeness of God. If you don't remember that, your mind is full of ill thoughts, which causes illness, which is evil, because it's anti-life. That's what's going down. Okay, so we got it? Oh yeah. We didn't get to the lesson, but oh boy, Spirit's moving. Spirit's moving. Oh yeah, Spirit is moving. Oh yeah, she's with us. And so I think I'll end here. Unless there's something someone would like to say. I hope you go back and play this. I know I will because it's just flowing out. I just feel the presence. And I'm present to the presence in this moment. And it feels so healing. So I'll go back and listen to this. Absolutely. And so I'll be here Friday night for astrology. A wonderful astrology session. And I got to come up with something this week. I know, maybe I'll go into some... If you have any ideas, let me know if there's anything you'd like me to talk about. I mean, I do love to go around the zodiac and let you know where everything is. But let me see what Spirit has in mind for that. But I will be here Friday night for soul astrology, ascending soul astrology. We are souls ascending. And of course, next Sunday, don't forget, it's $25, guys, for the breath session. Okay, $25. And that's Sunday morning for our Course in Miracles will be a breathwork session. Okay, and so with that, I'm sending you so much love and a million hugs and kisses to all my beloved other selves. You are all my beloved other selves that I adore and cherish, and I thank you. I thank you for your donations, really, and I thank you for your love and support. I thank you for just us doing the work together, really. It's just so, so powerful for the entire world. So with that, have a super night for my friends in the West. And for us over here, we're going to go out for lunch. Okay. Love you guys. Talk to you real soon. Mwah. Bye for now. Bye.